Hey guys, I am so excited about this week's feature. We're talking all about kids and gut health and how and why we need to change the trajectory of where our kids are headed. And to help us with this, we have my 8-year-old Phoenix joining, and we get to see how much having a mom that is into this stuff and has written books about it has actually impacted his education. And maybe if your kids are anything like mine, they'll actually take more to the information coming from something they watch on YouTube than they will from you. So enjoy this video. Hey, so before we get started and show my featured interview with my little man, my mini me, if you haven't seen him yet, you'll get it when you see him in the video, I promise. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information as to why this is a very passionate topic for me and most people in the wellness industry, especially gut health, and why we all need to be thinking about it and we need to be looking at our own habits as parents in order to better influence our kids, right? So kids and gut health, the stats right now are really scary. In fact, many have predicted that our children's generation, so that is the children of the millennials, will be the first generation to pass away before their parents. Some will argue that they're going to live longer. We have longer life expectancies than ever before, but unfortunately we have a much higher dependency on pharmaceuticals at much earlier ages now, which means that quality of life is going down substantially. And if we don't want to see this happen to our children, then we need to know what we can do about it. And we need to understand where we've set up the building blocks of success or failure and what we can do to turn those around. So let's start by handing you guys some hard information here. So 7.5% of children between ages, so when we say kids, we say between 3 and 17 is considered children age, above infancy and right before adulthood. So 7.4% have diagnosed behavioral problems. 7.1% are diagnosed with anxiety, and 3.2% have diagnosed depression. Many of these kids have all of the above. They all go together. 50% of the kids that have these diagnosed disorders have them before age 14. So they're suffering at very early ages. And it's estimated that it's actually way closer to 25%. Most kids go unrecognized with some of the things that they're suffering with. And I am very passionate about this because that was very much me. If you caught or read any of my book, either Buddha Belly or Hashtag My Epic Year, I really went into it in Hashtag My Epic Year, and I really talked about the hard time growing up and my battle with chronic anxiety and panic attacks and patchy depression bouts. So I'm a big advocate of that. I know what it looks like in a child. Kids cannot speak for themselves. They don't always know how to tell you what's wrong with them because they don't even understand what's wrong with them. A lot of grown adults don't understand these symptoms and things. So it's really important that we start to kind of be more open-minded and recognize that, but also set them up for success in all the ways that we can. So not only is it stress in their environments, but very much the things that we do with their internal body, the food that they eat, the things in their environment will have a massive implication over their mental health. So hence my passion for gut health and the brain-gut connection. It's come after a lifetime of suffering, and after 20-some years, I was able to almost completely squash majority of those symptoms. And at that point, I think most people would say that's probably a lifelong thing that you're going to have. And I'm walking proof that it wasn't. So I'm very passionate about this, but I hope to keep this kind of light, give some really good information, and hopefully ignite a little fire in you guys as parents, and maybe help you use a little stuff from the kiddos to teach kids. So there's some hard facts there. What is the gut? The gut is obviously, it's more than just our stomach. It's our intestinal tract. In there is housed multitudes of bacteria that are responsible for multiple functions. So when they're out of whack or they're wonky, or you have an overgrowth of the bad bacteria, you just have bad ratios in there, it really affects functionality in the whole body because those bacteria have a job. Okay, so the most important things we want to talk about is how 90% of the serotonin and 50% of the dopamine is actually manufactured in the gut, not the brain. And since we're talking about illness in kids in general, but mental health being such an epidemic and behavioral issues being being so on the rise now, it's really important to understand that 90% of our serotonin and 50% of our dopamine, that is majority of our happy juice, guys, is manufactured in the gut, not the brain. Your brain is not broken. Your child's brain is likely not broken. It's a more physiological malfunction, and we can do a ton with this, especially if we understand the origins of where it came from. So my son and I are going to go into a little more details on some of the how-tos in a minute, but I'm going to just get you guys with a couple more things. The other thing is the majority of the immune system also resides in the gut. So that means the thing that's there to keep us free of disease or give us an immune system, give us a fighting chance for infections and crazy flu bugs and all these things that are in our environment that we're so scared of, the best thing we can do is to build the immune system of our children. And it is our responsibility, you guys, because guess what? We handed it off to them in birth. That was stage 1, and not everyone got to do that in the way they would have liked. A lot of people don't even know how much the birth experience is actually related to setting their kids' immune system up in their gut. But we can do so much later on. And a lot of things in our Western society work against our children's health. We're going to talk about how 70% of what majority of kids are eating is not even real food, and the implications that this is going to have over their health, and what my 8-year-old thinks of that topic. Trust me, he loves his candy and his sweets and his cookies and his things, right? Mom tries to have a really healthy, truly healthy balance of that, but he also knows and that he knows what he needs to do. So we'll see how well he retains some of this information. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you're intrigued. I hope you're inspired. I hope you don't feel judged as a parent, because there's nothing to judge here. We all do our best with what we know. You don't know until you know, and once you know, you can do better, right? And we should always be. Being a parent, I always say, I'm not the mom I want to be. I'm not a good enough the level of mom I want to be, because it's an area in my life that I will never stop growing in, and I will never stop screwing up, but I'm always going to keep getting better, right? And that's the best we can do, is what we can do with what we have right now. And I think we owe it to our children to give them a fighting chance against disease, and especially to reduce this mental health epidemic, because we can't see our babies sick with anxiety and depression, and suicide is not an option. It can't be an option. Okay, let's get them before the hotline numbers, guys. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this interview with my little man. We're going to test Phoenix's knowledge of gut health. Okay, what's your mom's book called? The one about gut health. Not the new one.
The first one that I remember you making is called Buddha Belly. That's really the one I remember. Mm-hmm. It's very
good. I just had to test you on that. It's irrelevant, but that's okay. So Phoenix, how does a baby first get its gut bacteria? What are your gut bacteria? Do you know what they are?
It's called villager gut bugs or something.
Well, that's an interesting name. We can call it that. But yeah, your bacteria. How do you? Your bacteria are responsible for all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
They're like your health and everything. Your bacteria have a lot to do with that. Okay, so how do we start getting bacteria in our tummies? When's one of the first times that we get the biggest dose of bacteria in our guts, in our bellies?
More when you're born.
When you're born?
Because it comes from the mom.
Does every baby have it when they're born?
Mm-hmm. More of baby, almost every baby, because then it might get on their skin, and it will probably go into maybe through their ear or mouth to get into their body.
What if through the birth canal, right? Because we get our first dose of major bacteria when we come through the birth canal. What happens if a baby doesn't go through the mom parts, the birth canal? What happens if there's a C-section and they're cut out the tummy? Do you think they still get the same amount of bacteria?
Maybe, because the baby on the skin, but I don't think so.
There's a little bit on the skin, but not as much as babies that come out the other way, right? Mm-hmm. And this is important for us to know, because a lot of us, even we're C-section, a lot of babies are C-section. So if we've got a C-section kid, it's not the end of the world, but there's so much that we can do to build that gut. And if you had a colicky baby, especially after a C-section, even after regular delivery, this is food for thought and things to think about when we're working with gut health. And the reason that we're doing this video is to really stress the importance of why it is so important that we focus on our kids' immune systems and feeding them real food, and specifically tailoring to their gut to build their immunities and their wellness overall, because it's just this super powerful place. So what kills the good bugs? Because we have some good bugs and we have some bad bugs. Did you know that we even need the bad bugs sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Because they can make stuff that's in your body,
They
like
have
candy,
functions.
like in candy, like to try to get it out, they'll eat it, but it'll make them stronger too.
Yeah, it will make them stronger. Well, you're getting ahead of this. But that's good knowledge. I'm proud of you. Something's sticking. So anyways, we have some good bacteria and bad bacteria, right? The whole idea that it's bad bacteria is these are the bacteria that we don't want to over proliferate. The ones that if they get in a large number, they can have a lot of detrimental effects and do a lot of negative things and stuff. So we want to have more of the good bacteria, but keep it all in healthy proportions. You know what proportions is?
Not.
It means like healthy amounts of each bacteria. We don't want too much of any one thing, but the good bacteria we want to have more of, right? Mm-hmm. And a little less of the bad bacteria. Yeah. So what kills the good bugs in our tummy?
The bad bugs, because they can
No. Well, yes, you're right. Go ahead. Sorry.
The bad bugs can go like they go and eat. They can also, if there's too much of them, they can take over the good guys, and if there's too much of them, they can get onto all the bad guys and start eating them. And then once those die, they go on some more, and then
you're onto something there. So yeah, if we get too much of the bad bacteria, then they overpower the good bacteria. We don't have all those healthy functions, and they can get into parts of our intestines that they're not supposed to be. What do you know? What else kills the good bugs? If you don't know, just say you don't know. We're going to practice today. That's what we're doing. We don't have to practice.
Probably candy. It probably because it could like
a lot of sugar feeds the bad bacteria. So yeah, it can hurt the good bacteria. Absolutely. Do you know that disinfect like antibacterial things? So you know, like the hand sanitizer and things like that. All those things that are antibacterial. Do you know what antibacterial means? It means no bacteria. Antibacteria. Did you know that? Do you know a lot of medicines that we take and stuff can hurt our gut or kill our good bacteria?
Yeah, because a lot of medicines can be it's poison.
Well, there's some medicines that sometimes we need. Sometimes we need an antibiotic, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes. But if we use it too much, do you know what antibiotic means? It means against life. So it literally means killer of bacteria. Which sometimes we need them if we have a really bad infection and there's no other way. And there's no other way, but it does a lot of detriment to that. So a lot of our kids, right, if we don't know this stuff, this is what they're dealing with. This is what their gut looks like and therefore their immune system. So this might give you some insight about your kids. What feeds the good bugs, Phoenix? If we want the good bugs to grow more, what feeds the good bugs?
Asparagus and like onions and also onions.
Yes.
And also some types of vegetables.
So what you're talking about is prebiotic food. So people probably hear the word probiotic, and probiotic means like fermented foods, like raw sauerkraut, kefir, things like that. If we take a probiotic supplement, like a vitamin, it's a probiotic that puts more bugs in your tummy. But a prebiotic is what you're talking about. That's actually what feeds the probiotics. Prebiotic is the food for the probiotics. So how important is it that we're eating healthy, real food and like some of those vegetables and things? How important is it for our gut?
Very important, like 100%.
Very important.
Because if you eat too much candy and bad stuff, it could overlap the bad bacteria and make them stronger, and that's very bad.
Yeah, we've got to feed. It's like a fishbowl, right? We got to feed the good bacteria, and we do that with healthy food, like prebiotic food, right?
And also the bad bacteria can do a lot of damage to your body. Like it could go into like your blood tube system and maybe block it.
Well,
sometimes.
Something like that. It can cause stuff to seep into your blood system. You're really smart.
Sometimes it can eat your blood cells.
No, well, we won't go into that. That's a little different. You're ad-libbing. Whose son are you? I'm so proud of you, buddy. So, do you know what is processed food? What do you think?
I don't really know, but I think it's probably like processed food is like if you like eat it in your gut, process it.
That's a really good guess. So, processed food, right? If we're teaching other people, processed food is when it's food taken out of its natural state. So food that's grown, so you have vegetables and fruits and grains or animal products and meat and stuff, and a lot of stuff is done to it to change what it turns into. So like most foods
like
that you
is
find,
it like a carrots? What, like if you put it with salt or and a bunch of other stuff like baby powder or maybe
that would definitely be processed food. I don't think anyone would ever eat that. But, okay, so you kind of get the concept, but do you know that most food that's in boxes and it has labels and stuff is some form of processed food?
Oh, like salad, it's kind of like a processed food because it's a bunch of ingredients.
That's a little debatable. This might get complicated. That's lightly processed, but not so much. So I mean, like things that have, like in boxes. So when you eat crackers or boxed cereal or your pizzas and any goodies and stuff for sure, but even a lot of foods that we eat normally, like mac and cheese, or we don't eat them normally. Mom doesn't let you have that.
Well, I know about mac and cheese. It has unhealthy stuff, like stuff that is not edible, like coal and tar.
Okay, well, I can't stand behind that in this video, but I know that you've learned that on YouTube, so that everyone can research for themselves.
True.
I'm not editing this part out because he said it. I didn't say it.
It's on the right side.
Okay, but anyways, that's what processed food is, right? Stuff that comes out of a box. And the problem with processed food is that most of it has been completely depleted of any kind of nutrition. So vitamins, minerals, all the things that our body needs to survive, especially our gut, right? And do you know how much the average person, what percentage of the average person's diet is processed food? Guess. How much do you think? What percentage?
Probably 88%.
I would actually argue that to be more accurate. It's said to be 70%, but I would especially say our kids are probably having way more than 70% processed food. And majority of that is what they call ultra processed. So mildly processed would be like your salad. So you grew the salad, but you chopped it up and you add some chopped carrots and you put it in a bag. That's a mildly processed food, but it's hardly processed, right? Because it's still pretty much in its natural state. You can tell what it is. But highly processed food is things like mac and cheese and crackers and boxed cereal and all these things.
Stuff.
Yes, it's stuff that it's not going to have any nutrition, and over 70% of our children's diets and a lot of our adult diets, unfortunately, consist of highly processed food. So what do you think that does? What's your question?
Is bread like a processed food? Well, like what I know is only 2 ingredients, but is there other ingredients?
There's a lot of ingredients in bread. Do you know that?
So is that a processed food? Because
it is pretty processed.
I know that type. A lot of types of bread is unhealthy because it doesn't have the good.
It's been stripped of all its nutrients, right? And do you know that's where most Americans get all their salt intake? Majority of their salt consumption actually comes from bread. Kind of weird, huh? But we'll try not to trail on this. So what do you think happens to your body when majority of the food you're eating isn't real food? It's processed food. What do you think happens to your body? Do you think you can be big and strong?
No. No, I think you're going to be like weak and very tired and you can't do a lot of stuff, which is bad.
Do you think you get sick more?
Yeah.
Because your immune system isn't as good.
It's weak. It's starting to get weaker and weaker the more you eat bad stuff. That's like candy.
What part of your body is responsible for the majority of your immune system?
Like your little gut bugs.
Your gut in general, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really important to keep that healthy. So what do you do when mommy gives you foods that you know are healthy for your gut and you know why to eat them, but you don't love them? What's some foods that you don't love that mommy makes you eat, but you eat them because you know they're healthy? What's some foods?
Maybe it's asparagus with nothing added with them that tastes yummy. But I know that you put some yummy stuff that's healthy in it. But that's why I eat them. But plain asparagus, but onions, plain onions.
So what do you do? What do you what helps you eat that stuff?
Like mixing it with something yummy.
So sometimes we'll put just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on it and some pink sea salt. So we put some nutritious flavor on it if you really don't like it, right? And you'd rather eat it pretty. We do that sometimes with broccoli. You guys are pretty good at eating your broccoli.
Yeah, broccoli and ranch taste the best. But I like eating cooked broccoli, plain broccoli too.
Yeah, good job. And you've been eating that since you were super little.
I like eating it. At first, I like to eat the top, and then the branch, I like to eat that the most, so I save that for last, and then I'm like,
That's perfect. All right. Well, thank you, buddy, for doing this video today. He really, really wanted to be on this YouTube. So he might come and do some more YouTubes where we talk about kids and health. And I think that he's a great example for his little brother because he's been doing this at a younger age than brother. So there's a few foods that we're picky about, right? And you still like your treats. But you know that you don't eat too many of them, right? And you know what he did this week that made me so proud too is he realized that what he ate for breakfast was so important for his energy at school. And he saw that if he ate a healthier breakfast, if he ate an egg and a banana, that he had more energy than if he ate cereals, box cereals and sugar cereals, then he'd have more energy at school and stuff. So we talk about things like this without making it dogmatic, and it does pay off. We can't do everything, and we won't come down on our kids like they have no freedom or can't enjoy birthday cake or can't have pizza sometimes on the weekend. But to really establish that a way larger percentage of their diet needs to
keep it careful
real food
with treats, but mostly healthy stuff. But if it's like an event or just something to celebrate or just having fun, you can have a little bit of unhealthy stuff, but not too much.
Can people make healthy treats?
Maybe.
Do we make healthy treats?
Yeah.
What healthy treats do we make that you like?
Here's one that the only one I really remember is not one that we make, but I remember one that you that is healthy.
What?
It's a type of chocolate, but it's healthy.
Like dark chocolate?
Very dark chocolate.
What about dried figs? You guys love dried figs, don't Is that good? There's no added sugar in that, huh? Because we learned how to read labels. Yeah, well, this was fun. So if you guys want to hear more about what we do or about our coaching school, you can find us at hwcacoach.com. Hopefully, I think this one's going to be shared on both YouTube channels, so you can see, depending on which one you're finding this, you can see Coach Britt's Vision, that's my personal one, or you can find the coaching school all about gut health and wellness at Gut Health School on YouTube. And thank you for joining us today.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and remember to share it with your friends.